Oh, snap. It's another Snap review from the Family Gamers.
Anitra, I have a fact.
Okay.
Did you know that tropical rainforests hold roughly half the world's plant and animal species?
I did. We can learn a little bit more about these wonders of nature with a new game, Canopy.
This is a Snap review for Canopy.
Canopy is a two-player drafting and set collection game. It was designed by Tim Eisner and is published by Weird City Games. It takes about 30 minutes to play, and it's best for ages 8 and up.
Well, Anitra, we can see this beautiful artwork. Let's talk about the art in this game.
It's gorgeous. Vincent Dutrait has created these lush illustrations that bring the plants and animals of the rainforest right onto your table. All of the iconography relates directly to the theme.
It's also clear that the theme, which is the thriving rainforest, influenced not just the art in this game, but even the packaging in this game. They used cardboard/paper card bands and even paper envelopes instead of plastic.
The box is a perfect size too. It's big enough to fit everything easily, but without any wasted space that would use more energy to make and transport.
It's obvious they thought about all of these things when making this game. Let's talk about how to actually play Canopy.
Yeah, let's talk about the mechanics. Canopy starts with 3 more or less equal decks representing seasons, and 3 piles for drafting. These are called new growth, 1, 2, and 3.
So on your turn, you take a look at the first new growth pile and then decide to either keep it or pass it to the next pile. If you pass, make the same decision for the next pile. Every time you pass on a pile, add a card to it from the current season deck face down. If you pass on all 3 piles, take a card from the top of the deck and add it to your forest.
All the various cards play different roles in your forest. Trunks can be stacked together and then combined with canopy cards to make tall rainforest trees. Plants group together in sets and score at the end of the round.
So did the Sun and the Rain card.
Then there are seeds. They give you a random draw at the end of the round from the seed deck,
The seed deck.
which is packed with even more plants and tree parts.
Now some animals have powers that you can use to help you.
Lastly, there are threats. Some, like drought and lightning, make you discard cards immediately when you draw them. Others, like fire and disease, only take effect at the end of the round. They'll always make you do some discarding, but if you gather enough of them, you can force your opponent to discard some cards too.
When the season runs out of cards, calculate your scores for the round from plants, weather, and newly finished trees. Apply seed cards and animal effects and take your appropriate point tokens.
Then discard all your plants, all your weather, all your threats, and your seeds. You only keep your trees and your animals.
Then you get to start the next season. At the end of the game, you'll score normally, but then you'll also add point tokens for your animals.
Finally.
The player with the largest forest will get a big bonus too.
That's how you play. Let's talk about what we expected from Canopy.
Well, I like the small box. I always talk about how I care that the box size fits the game. And I like the idea of a game that's best at 2 players, but mostly I had a lot of questions, like how do you make a game out of having the best rainforest? Or how do you differentiate a game like that? How do you draft cards with only 2 players? I'd played some games that seemed to figure this out, but Canopy definitely did it differently. And that leads into our surprises.
Yeah, this peek or pass drafting mechanism, it seemed immediately familiar, but I can't think of any other games that actually do this.
We brainstormed, we have no idea.
It makes a ton of sense for a 2-player game, and it really adds to the tension since you know what you're potentially giving up to your opponent. Is it worth taking that single card? Or should you try for that bigger stack, hoping the card you pass on will still be there on your next turn?
And I really like the metaphor here. Those cards that you put down after you've looked and decided to pass, they're called new growth, right? That's what we're aiming for. We're letting the rainforest plants and animals grow.
Keeping score with tokens rather than a score sheet felt kind of odd, especially in a round-based game.
But there's no paper waste with this.
Right, I guess it makes it more sustainable.
So you always play solo games. What did you think of the solo mode?
The solo mode was fine. You play against an automated opponent who has a defined pattern of taking cards from the new growth piles. It made me super careful about what I passed in the growth piles because I knew for sure it would go to my opponent.
So the interesting thing is that this game lists itself as a 2-player game, but it includes variants for 3 and 4 players. And we actually liked the 3-player variant more.
You share a new growth pile with the players on either side of you, and the third and final new growth pile for you is in the middle, shared amongst all the players. It felt like the decisions were way more interesting here. knowing which of your opponents has access to each of your new growth piles.
There were times when my opponent on one side really wanted a card that was in the pile on the other side, and I knew they would never get it, so I was okay with leaving it for a later round.
With more players, you play over only 2 seasons, so it's still just as quick as the 2-player game.
And, of course, we liked that there was kind of an educational flavor to every single card.
The more we played Canopy, the more we noticed how every card choice fit perfectly into the rainforest theme.
So, Anitra, do we recommend Canopy? Do we recommend this game?
I think if you're invested in the future of our rainforests, or just looking for an unusual 2-player game, Canopy's a really good choice. Everything about it was designed with sustainability in mind, and Weird City Games promises to plant a tree for each copy that's ordered.
How can you argue with that?
I know, right?
Canopy is a great choice for game schooling. Kids will learn some facts directly from the game, and like I said, it should stimulate interest to find out more about these amazing natural resources.
So, Andrew, what do you think we should rate Canopy from Weird City Games?
Well, with this gorgeous art, with all of the thought that went into this, with the cool, unique mechanics and all the different player counts, I think we're going to give Canopy 4.5 out of 5 tall trees.
And that's Canopy
In a snap.